What's up, Gunpla modelers? This is Strider Prime, bringing you a new edition of BandaiModels. That's right, BandaiModels kits that we're going to be working on. Actually, just one Bandai model kits, but we have two other non-Bandai model kits. But this is the beginning of my, what we call my Macross project, or Project Macross, you could say. Something that I have been meaning to work on for a very long time. I've got the monster kit from Gundam Planet a few months ago when I found that they had it, and I've always wanted this kit for a very long time. So much so that when I got this, I also had another kit that was also 1/200 scale, and that is this one right here. This is a Armored Valkyrie that was in its box, and I had it for a long time, but the box, disintegrated, but I still had the kit and the instructions. And then, as I was on YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff, I came across a group called Wise Guys Hobbies, who were selling very old Macross kits, which I'm going to hopefully get a chance to see them personally, and that's another video we will talk about in another time. And I got these two guys, and getting all this all at the same time, I pretty much have the beginning of my next project, and that's going to be building a diorama scene using these four kits. They're 1/200 scale. They're very small. Well, these three are small. This guy is a little bigger and more detailed. Surprisingly, there's no larger scale version of this, and some suggest that maybe one day we'll be seeing a 1/100 scale version. But I want to go I'm going to go down the go down memory lane. I remember seeing this kit all the time, but never at a hobby store or any store. It's always online or in a magazine or something like that. And of course, I've been a big fan of Macross for a long time, aka Robotech, which we all know and hate. And surprisingly, the monster, even though it's a great looking model kit, has only been seen for a few scenes in the anime, and maybe 1 or 2 scenes in the movie Do You Remember Love? And I was reading the lore of the Destroid monster, and there's like, I think there were 2 versions of this. There was one with a claw, which was designed to pick up artillery and put it on the another version of this, and then this is considered the Mark II version. There is a Mark III version, but it has never been put into production, or there is no line out on it, and supposedly it's replacing the artillery with large cannons. Large missile launcher. And there are 2 of these in the anime. In the final battle of I believe it was Do You Remember Love? 2 of these was on the chest near the head as it went to attack the during the final battle scenes. And there are these 2 little smaller ones that was on the 1/4000 scale kit, which I lost. So those are gone, can never be found again. But now that I got this, and yes, even though this is the original mold, I don't think this is a updated mold. I think this is still the original mold because it was still good. There may be some inconsistencies with this kit. That I may have to do a lot of cleaning, a lot of detailing, a lot of preparing, because it's not an updated version. And the same holds true with the Tomahawk, the Spartan, and the Armored Valkyrie. And I do remember getting these when Revell was making the packs, the two mech packs. But unfortunately, they only had the one for like the regular Valkyrie, the Valkyrie with the powered Valkyrie, the Super Valkyrie, and it's either the you get it either with the fighter or with the geared work mode, or the geared work with the super armored mode. There were like 4 versions of it. They never made these in Robotech line. The only way you can get the Tomahawk in Robotech and the Spartan was if you buy the Robotech factory. So I never seen it sold separately for anybody. And Revell missed the boat on that, but I was able to pick up a few in the past. But this is technically my first Tomahawk at this scale. I would not mind getting a 1/100 or a 1/72 scale if I could find it. I do remember getting this at 1/100 scale, but it was a silver coated version. It was weird to get a silver coated, but it was still a new model kit to me. But I want to make a diorama using 4 of these kits. Well, I'm going to build them, of course, clean it up, find where the problems are, because usually the seam lines are going to be the biggest issue. I'm going to be using a lot of putty and filler. I may have to use styrene sheets. And we're talking about these 3. I don't know about the big guy, which I'm going to be working on first. And I'm going to do a scene where they're... At first I'm saying, okay, we'll do a diorama with the land and they're on top of it and firing. But no. I want to do it where they're on top of a structure, henceforth on top of the a plate that represents the SDF-1. Whether it's well, there are 2 or 3 possibilities. I could do it where they're in front, like right on top as the on top of the Delius, or I could do it on the flight deck of the Prometheus. But I don't think that would work with how big this artillery piece is. I could do it right on top of the ship, like next to the like one of the main guns. Well, actually not the main, the secondary guns, to show it, to give some scale. But those secondary guns are huge, so if I do that, I would have to scratch build that gun and put it right next to it or in front of it, as these 2 guys are in the side or whatever, and they're doing what they're doing, you know, in a specific position. I'm going to go all out on this because I'm now going to make a scene like that. But also I'm going to put like LED lights. I have a lot of LED lights that I've been picking up lately, and I said, you know, it's about time I light up a kit, you know, and this is a perfect opportunity to try this. This is going to be a long process, and I'm not expecting it to be done within a day or 2, or let alone a month. And I'm hoping to get it done by I don't know, April of next year, just before I go into Mosquitocon 2024, and put it on display. But that is my project that I am going to do for Macross, because I've been a big fan of Macross for a long time. I have been itching building a new Macross kit. Lately I've been seeing a lot of the new Macross fighter kits, and I have the battle pod, both the original and the new, which I want to work on as well. I don't have any of the fighters, but I feel I want to buy a new fighter, whether it's a 1/100 or 1/72 scale. And I'm talking about the classic Macross kits. No Delta Plus, no Macross 7. I want classic, and that's where we're going with this. But I need to explain it, my idea, and the best thing to do is to draw it. I'm not that very good with drawing, but I'm going to try to give it a good visual representation. So something, and I'm just pretending like this is part of a ship or a section of the ship or something like that. Now, whether this is going to be like this or not, I don't know. But I've always seen the guns, which is basically, let me see here, Try to do it the best I can. I always see these guns in this weird configuration. These sticking out like that, and then something like that. More detail will be thought of during the construction or something like that. And if I can cut this entire section here, I can make this scene, and then depending on the scale and size of the monster, not the best you can do with a Sharpie, but put the monster there, put the Spartan, see how bad this is, Spartan over here, put the Tomahawk there, and then the Armored Valkyrie, maybe put it over here on the top, maybe put it there as well. Like that. Now, this is my idea, but again, this can be subject to change. Whether I'm not going to do this whole thing, just like cut there, there, and there, and just show that. But it depends on how big the kits are, how big the monster is once I finish assembling. So what I'm going to do is going to begin building the actual kits themselves, see how they look, put them in orientation. Then, once I have that taken care of and maybe finish painting them, then I'm going to make the base and the design of this, because I need to see video of this gun in action. I have not seen any. I've seen a lot of line art, but I haven't seen like the weaponry being fired from the SDF-1, which I could probably find it on YouTube. It's just that how you write it up, and you know, if I say SDF-1 firing its main gun, it's gonna fire the big two cannons in front of the ship, the main weaponry, but not the secondary or you know, the other support weaponry that's in there, point defenses and things like that. So I need to watch videos and try to find a perfect line art for something like this or something similar to it, and then find out what will be the scale. Is it bigger than this, or is it smaller than this? I know that the ones that's on top of the ship and on the sides are huge, but there are smaller versions, and if I could put it next to the smaller versions, then I can rearrange it in a way that, you know, fits that narrative, or make something differently and new and make it unique for, you know, on my own. What is your idea? What do you think that idea is cool or not? You know, you decide, you tell me, but that is the intention that I'm going to do. All right, let's review this kit and see what we have to work with here. First, I gotta learn to appreciate the artwork of this. This is actually classic artwork. I do remember going back, way back into the mid-'80s when I first saw artwork like this from, actually, you know, back then there was no internet, there was no magazines showing this. How I remember this was basically usually some plastic, what do you call it? some sort of insert inside another model kit from the same line, showing off this, and I was like, whoa, this is pretty crazy seeing the level of detail. Furthermore, you don't normally see model kits like this, or images where it has all the decals. Not even Gundam kits on the box art to show the decals on it. But this is neat to see that. Well, the detail looks good. And this is an old mold. This is not I mean, oh, you can actually see it here. I think I saw the year. I could be wrong. We'll open it up in a minute. So that was the body and some pieces. I guess the legs were there. Water slide decals, we got all that. And then we have the cannons. And you have the missile launcher system. Really neat. Same artwork. They have never got rid of it. And then we have 3 color tones here. What the kit looks like with the decals on. I thought that was I just didn't realize. Let me see. No, there's no decal for this strip. Clearly, you're gonna have to paint it, so that's understandable. I have something for this, which hopefully we'll try out soon. But yeah, this is a reprinted. I think this is 2010. Now, remember, it's an old mold, it's not new. So, you have like mid joints that needs to be glued on, and you'll see the seam line right in the middle. So, I have a distinct feeling I'm going to be using a lot of putty and glue to close and smooth out and sand down. I think what I'm about to do is I'm going to make what's called a putty goo, where you take styrene sheets and take a little bit thinner, and glue, let it melt in. I think somebody showed it online one time. Let it melt in, and once it's in the paste, I can then apply it onto the part and then sand it down. I did something similar like that a long time ago using thinner and putty, and it allowed it to be a little bit more smoother, so I can put it on. I may end up doing that. But yeah, this is a nice kit. Beautiful box art though. Now the Destroid Tomahawk 1/200 scale. Now this was, I think I reviewed the box art on this before, but this comes with a suction cup, because it was meant to be attached to the, I guess, a wall or for a refrigerator, because of this little weird ball thingy, which is very weird to see something like that. Here are all the parts. Water slide decals, of course. I don't know how well this water slide decals are. Obviously, this is an older kit. Trying to see what year it came out. Made in Japan. Okay. I would not mind getting one of these. Alright, I can see the year. Maybe it's on the instructions. As you can see, you can actually... Oh, I got 2 of these. Wow. I should use a translator on my phone to see if I could find all this information. But we'll leave it. Alright, so yeah, this has an area where you can plug it in and attach it to the wall, which is kind of a nice little gimmick if you want, but we're not doing that, of course. And in all due fairness, it is painted the right color, brown, but we'll paint it a little bit better, because clearly there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Now the robot. Who did this? Oh my god, Testers of all companies. This one was done. Was this by Ari? No, couldn't tell. BandaiModels. Some detail here. Alright. So this one out. And of course this has the same gimmick. Ooh! You can paint it red. Oh no, that's sorry, that's the full armor. But you have all the other options. So you get this little weird metallic part, I guess, to hold up the kit. You get this. You get this. Put that there. You get a really shitty instruction manual, but it's pretty much the basics right there. So basically this is a remold, repackaging, and this came out in 1985. Oh yeah, this is a dark brown, more darker brown than to that, but I obviously want to paint it green. And unlike this kit, which has more detail and placement of the decals, this one does not, so you really got to figure it out. I think it should be easy to figure out. Some people online must have built it in. But the decals, so I'm going to do that too. And then I did mention about this, which is the Armored Valkyrie. But this does not come with, oh yeah, it does come with decals. Wow. Alright. I'm going to begin building this and having fun with it. Ah, yes. Gluing parts together. Something you don't normally see me do on model kits, but considering that all new Bandai kits are all snap fit. But this is where glue is required. I removed this from the tray on the Monster. And obviously, like I said, this is an old kit. And it has to be from 1985 or 6 or something like that. I'm test fitting it right now. I'm not removing the nub, but I'm test fitting it, and it is not a complete perfect fit. You can actually feel with your fingers how off-center a bit. Clearly, at the time, even though the molding was good, it was not. It was far from perfect. Maybe one day they'll make a new tooling of the Monster. That'll be nice. Or a different scale. Something that a lot of people were hoping to see. Let me just glue it on right now. I was looking for a tool to use to hold this part in. No, that ain't it. Happened here a minute ago. Oh, darn it. I always forget where I put my stuff. Never mind. We'll get this out of the way. I'm using a thicker tone glue here. Right now I'm just going to put it on the area where the contacts are. Getting it right the first time is not easy. But we do this. Put it like that. And then as that settles in, I'll use extra thin cement. And then once it dries, I'll sand it down. I have another one here, and I have a few more which I gotta get. Let me do the remaining 4 parts of this. Alright, so right now I'm in the middle of putting the barrels together, since this is 2 parts, and it's not as easy as you think, because there's a seam line that goes right through it, and it doesn't align up properly like you saw with these guys, which I'm going to be cleaning up soon. I did begin to sand it down using sanding paper that I have here, but it is a chore to do it right and hopefully get it right. Right now I'm just noticing something here. I'm gonna do this. Actually, it's kind of hard to do it like that freehand. You want to get sure you want to make sure it's right. So I think that's okay for now. I had some sticky tack here a minute ago, and now I can't find. Oh, there it is. I can use the tack to tell me if there's a line there, if I miss something, or any imperfections. I'll do that in a moment. But sanding it down, I'm going down the layers. I first use a stronger grit. This is a 240 sanding sheet. Then I use a 400. I'll switch to this when it gets to the nice little grooves there. And then I move on to, where's my 600? Here's a 600, which I thought I had another sponge, but I gotta find it. And then finally I use a very fine grit. This could be 1,000, it's medium, 60 or 80, but it's very, but you know what? It's, I think I remember this was rough, but now it's so soft it can double as a 1,000 grit. I keep forgetting to buy a 1,000 grit sponge. Sticks I have, sponges I do not. So yeah, I'm kind of working my way here, and I'm going to be cutting these parts off, but I want to show you something. Never use hobby nippers like this to cut plastic nubs off, especially if they are glued on. And the reasons why, depending on your nippers, unless they're really good, they may cut open a cavity like you see here. This one I don't have to worry about because it's going to be covered up, but something like this, that's another problem. So if you want, try to use your hobby knife, and you may do like gentle strokes here. Unless the hobby knife is really sharp, it'll go through, but careful not to do that. There we go. That cuts it out, and it's nice and smooth. There we go. Even if it's a little bit left over, you can clean it up a bit. There is a scraper blade out there that allows you to scrape it fine, but I don't have it. I don't know if I could actually use this. Maybe not. And I'm going to be sanding this down soon as well. But yeah, let me finish up the barrels, and then we'll move on to the next part. But this is kind of neat how see how big the barrels are. So this gives you an idea of how big the kit's going to be. So I'm actually cleaning up the legs and the feet for this kit for the monster. I've already cleaned up the joints nice and smooth, but still there's more to this. And I'm about to put this on. I'm just going to do a test fit here first. This, I believe, goes like that right here. And then I'm going to cut that off a bit to the angle. And then this will go here. Okay, that's going to be a lot of sanding there as well. Yuck. You know what, let me see if the other one is I can use the other one. Hang on, let me take this off. Like that. It is a whole. It is a man, female. Yeah, it is. Okay. That's a lot better. Okay, fair enough. I can do that. But obviously, I'm gonna have to hold it down and melt it. You know, for the glue to melt. However, this is a bit hollow, and granted, the entire kit will probably be a lot weightier on top of it, but I'm not digging how this would feel. So what I'm about to do is something that I don't normally do on kits, but considering how much of a cavity that's in here, I am going to give it a split shot. These are super sinker. This is sinkers, metal waders, you could say, or metal weights you can put on your fishing line when you go fishing. And even though we're not going fishing, these have a substantial weight to it. I'm going to put one right there. But to hold it in, I'm going to have to super glue it. I'm going to put a lot here. And then let that fall into place like so. I didn't check the clearance on this. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's good. It's very good. I'm going to let that set, this, and on the other one it'll probably be a little bit... yeah, it actually clears it. I'll rearrange it a bit. Actually, let me do that now. Be careful with super glue. Don't let it touch your fingers. I think that's fine. Squeeze in a little bit there and there. And obviously I don't want that there. Here we go. Okay. So let me put the waders on the other feet, then we'll close it up and then sand it, seal it up.